leaders who represent the heart, vision, and future of real estate. Each of them brings a unique perspective, proven leadership, and a deep commitment to our industry. Let's take a moment to learn more about the amazing individuals joining us today. Hummer Music is the industry relations liaison for Georgia MLS and a passionate advocate for realtors throughout Georgia. With nearly a decade of service at Georgia MLS, he has built strong relationships across the state, supporting associations, promoting the realtor brand, and championing the value of community through real estate. A proud Bosnian American and first-generation immigrant, Robert Winston Buford with his wife Erin and their newborn son, Alton Harris Music. His dedication to service and connection continues to make a meaningful impact across the industry. Up next, we have a seasoned leader and respected voice in real estate, Faith Reed. Faith Reed is an associate broker and accomplished real estate professional with over 29 years of industry experience. She served as state president of the Women's Council of Realtors Georgia and as a regional vice president, where she inspired leadership and supported the growth of local networks across the region. Known for her wisdom, poise, and unwavering commitment to excellence, Faith remains a trusted leader and mentor in the real estate community. Joining her on the panel is our own 2025 President for Women's Council of Realtors, Gwinnett, Latonia Jones. Latonia Jones is a passionate real estate leader with a strong track record in service, strategy, and professional growth. A graduate of the 2022 WCR, she now serves as the 2025 president of the WCRGwinnett network and has held key roles including treasurer and president-elect. She also chaired the RIDE committee promoting inclusion and equity and currently serves on the 2025 boards of NAMAR and GAR. A candidate for the GAR Leadership Academy, Latonia continues to lead with purpose and elevate the industry. And rounding out this incredible panel is a powerhouse of leadership and service and the 2025 president of the Women's Council of Realtors in Georgia, Cassandra Odoms. Cassandra Odoms is a retired Army Command Sergeant Major with over 34 years of service and an experienced associate broker in real estate. She currently serves as the 2025 president of the Women's Council of Realtors Georgia and has previously led as district vice president and DeKalb local president. A proud member of the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, Cassandra also enjoys arts and crafts, traveling, community service, and spending time with her family. These panelists exemplify excellence, service, and the power of leadership in action.
Wonderful. I hope you guys were able to hear all of that. You can just unplug, but we're not going to be needing that anymore. All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to project my voice because we don't have enough mics, but can you guys hear me in the back okay?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I was blessed with this voice from my grandmother. Okay, so let's just start with the first question. And how I'm gonna do it is just, if you feel connected to the question, answer, okay? And then I'll just surprise call on you. Okay, so, one great question is, what sets Women's Council of Realtors apart from every other real estate organization out there? Because there's a million right now. So what makes the Women's Council so unique?
I can take that.
Okay, take it.
Okay, well, first of all, before I get started, I wanted to say thank you to Women's Council Gwinnett for putting this panel together. And also, I don't know if you know or if you've ever been invited to speak on a panel and you get the questions in advance. And as you're going through them, you sometimes say, who wrote these questions? What were they thinking? Was any thought put into these questions? And then it's on you, the person who is on the panel, to figure out how to make these questions sexy and exciting and keep the audience engaged. But I have to tell you, when I received the questions, I immediately responded to the person who sent them. Somebody really sat down and put some serious thought into these questions. In fact, they made me work. They're very thought-provoking, and I wanted to take the first one. I think I'm the longest tenured here. My gray hair is, I'm proud of these gray hairs. I don't have one of them. But what sets Women's Council apart from other organizations? I've been in the business for 30 years. This is my 30th year, and I've been a Women's Council member for 23 of those years. For me, it is the mission of the council. It is simple, but it is powerful. And I know for a fact that it has transformed the lives of so many of its members. And they've been doing this for over 80 years. Women's Council, I believe, does the hard work of advancing women as business professionals and leaders. And that mission is both adaptable and attainable for every member. I do not know of any other real estate organization that can deliver that.
That's beautiful. Awesome. Beautiful. So, pause whenever you see the time to do so. Someone else was about to say something. You, okay.
I do have something as well. I think one major distinction with Gwinnett WCR and WCR in general is compared to the other trade organizations, for example, let's say the LGBTQ Alliance, GACARA, the Korean American Real Estate Professionals, NAREP, the Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, they're all the voice of a minority within this industry that is, fighting for an opportunity to have a voice in this industry. Whereas Gwinnett WCR in general represents the majority, females in this industry. 55 to 62% I've seen are the numbers of a percentage of females that are realtors in this industry. So I think it's fighting for a greater voice for that majority. I think that maybe also something worth noting is that there's a disproportionate amount of women in executive roles in this industry as well. I think it's around 30 to 40% in executive roles. So the majority fighting for their voice, and it's still represented as maybe a minority in this industry. I think that's the major distinction there.
Yes, which is very true. And it's 65% women dominated in the industry for residential. But in the higher roles like brokers and commercial real estate, things like that, it's still highly male dominated. So just to clarify what you.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, my mom, she works in the engineering, she works in the nuclear industry, and that's also a very male-dominated industry where males maybe talk at her and tell her what to think, but my mom's not one to take any crap from a man. She's trained my dad well, but yeah. That's why I'm so connected to the mission of WCR.
So you're used to powerful women. So
absolutely, I love
you
it.
can handle us in the room.
Absolutely, and I married a powerful woman as well.
There you go.
It's nice to not have to think or form my own opinions. I just let her do that.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so what about you, LaTanya?
I believe that Women's Council is not just a professional, association, but it's a leadership incubator. Our mission is to build leaders. And just one realtor at a time. I just think it's a leadership.
For building, and because there's some certifications that you can't even get if you're not a part of WRC. And literally you are building your business. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you go into real estate, people just see things online like, oh, it's just pretty houses. This is a business. And real estate agents don't realize that this is literally a business. And if you don't know how to run a business, then your business is not going to be successful. And with the Women's Council of Realtors, there are so many programs out there that will take you to where you're trying to go. It just depends on if you want to take your business there, So, okay, sorry, just had a little moment there. Madam President.
I want to give a little history on this council. This was originally started by 9 women because, back, I think it's 1938, correct me if I'm wrong,
Close.
say, close.
Was it 39?
It doesn't matter.
Back there in that time.
Over 80 years.
Yeah, I think it's 88 years old now.
Yeah.
But it was started because women were not allowed to be realtors under norm. So these 9 ladies had decided, okay, well, we need to start, we need to give women some power, give them a voice. And this is where Women's Council Realtors came from. And it has elevated and moved forward, and it's to make us leaders. Now, when I think of leaders, it's not just in the real estate industry, because many of us are in organizations outside of real estate, and you may be in a leadership role. Women's Council can help you build upon those leadership skills, because a lot of women, they come in shy, they come in timid. But then once they've been in Women's Council for a minute or two, it's like, wow, you have that butterfly that was in a cocoon, and now you have a caterpillar that was in a cocoon. And now you have this butterfly that has come out. And that's one of the beauties of Women's Council. It takes you from your comfort zone to a zone where you need to be and want to be.
Nice, beautiful. Thank you. We received that. Now, we were talking about leadership development. Like, what are some leadership development options that's out here for the Women's Council? Because I know leadership is tossed around a lot in the Women's Council. But what does that actually look like in the Women's Council? Who would like to pick that one? Okay.
We have a leadership academy specifically for Georgia that other states are really wanting to adopt. And what that academy does, it teaches you and develops those leadership skills for you. And you are placed in an environment where there are instructions, but it's really up to you. The dean usually gives you a project. Last year, I was the dean, and I gave the students a project to develop a strategic plan based on our national and state plan. And they were to develop a program for their members to increase their pipeline. Now that, they looked at me like, what? But they came out and they had to present this at our membership meeting at the annual conference. But what it does, what it did,
It's okay.
we had to get, I had had enough coffee.
Yeah, I understand.
But what that does is, like I mentioned earlier, was bring them out of a comfort zone, because some of them, I know one in particular, she's real quiet. She likes to be in the background, but her contribution to the group was profound. So you never know who's in the room. You never know until you ask or you put them in that position where they have to come out. And that's what the Leadership Academy is all about. It's about leader development and bringing out your strength, not our strength, but your strength. And you will find that as you go along through the program. So that's just one option.
Beautiful. Latonya, did you join that? Were you in the leadership?
I did. I graduated from Leadership Academy in 2022.
How was that experience for you?
Um,
I know, that's not in the sheet, but we want to know, right?
Well, that was my very first experience, and is actually when I met Miss Faith Reed, and having to stand in front of the room and speak. I was terrified, so I was that.
Yes, you were.
That timid person, wanting to see what everybody else was doing in the back, but when it was my time to come up, I choked, but that experience, and leading on, it's really a hands-on. Leadership development is pretty much hands-on if you think about it, but it really helped shape me and grow me, because after I completed the Leadership Academy, then I went on to become treasurer, and you couldn't tell me that my name was gonna be up there saying president, because that's not something I sought after, you know. I was just here, next thing you know,
It's called a tap.
I'm just here.
You get tapped a lot in leadership.
You
when
need
you're
to
part
tap
of
the step. One of
WCI.
those two are going to the.
Vaughn told me.
Yeah. So it was a great experience. I tell everyone to start there with anything that you do in your life, because it helps you grow personally and from a business perspective.
Yeah.
And if I could just say, you all heard that inspiration this morning? She was talking about herself. She was that lady.
Mm.
That's Tanya. I watched her grow. Which brings me to my thoughts when I got this question, what does that look like in the council? And for me, development is a process. It's a process that elevates you from good to great. And between good and great is a long journey. And Women's Council is your GPS on that journey. And I know that because I experienced it. See, every one of us coming into the real estate profession, I believe, comes wanting to sell houses and make a good living, right? Those who join the Realtor affiliation do so not only to sell homes, but to do it with integrity and credibility. They want to build a career in real estate professionally. As realtors, think about it. We're a vital part of weaving the fabric of the American dream. We facilitate homeownership, which in turn builds vibrant neighborhoods. And that creates better opportunities for economic empowerment. So a Women's Council member gets that unique opportunity to hone and practice those leadership skills you heard Cassandra and talk about. And they learn that within the council. They go on and they take it to their local and their state boards. And then those leaders become empowered. When you become empowered, you're able to leverage the skills that you've been developing over time. And you use those skills, you leverage those skills back in your business. It sets you apart as a true professional, I believe, and makes you an expert and gives you the influence and credibility to make you successful. And I always say, you can't be an expert in an industry that you're not involved in. So if you want to be an expert, you got to get involved. And Women's Council provides a platform to develop you, to get you from good to great, and to be a true expert in your profession.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that touched us. Your church for a bit. Okay, Mr. Music. How, as one of the strategic partners, how has this impact your organization, your business?
Absolutely. So I don't know if we can necessarily quantify how many members we've gotten through WCR, but I will say that it has opened up marketplaces for us. I mean, we at Georgia MLS, the first intention that we have is service. We think by serving our members, we get in their good graces and everything. And we developed that bond and that connection with our members a little bit better. So, I mean, by participating in WCR, whether it's in down on the coast, up to the mountains, around the metro Atlanta area, I think that it has opened up certain marketplaces for us for conversations where you guys might not know this, but there's 25 MLSs across the state of Georgia. of those, we are the largest as far as sales volume, units sold and all that. But a lot of smaller MLSs try to keep us out of their marketplace, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I would say it's very protectionist.
Yes.
So it's allowed us to kind of chip away at those walls by acting in good faith with trade organizations and so forth, which brings us closer to the MLSs for those conversations and serving our dual purpose.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it is in effect. So if we have any potential sponsors in the room, just let us know. Okay, so Ms. Faith Reed, I'm gonna bring this question back to you. How has, because you've been a part of WCR for a while, and how has this, because you keep coming back and you keep coming back, so it has to be something there that keeps bringing you back. So how has this directly impacted your business?
100%. The first 7 years of my real estate career, good years. I had many successes. In my second year, I was Rookie of the Year and continued to grow. And I would say I was a good realtor. In my 7th year, I was introduced to Women's Council. Group of ladies meeting and I was invited to attend. And I was just really blown away by the content, the synergy, the networking with this group of successful women. Of course, I joined right away. I would say it revolutionized my career. What do you mean? All right, well, let's talk about the referral income stream. Getting to know colleagues across the country, traveling to Women's Council conferences, the wealth of networking that you're able to do. Also, the level of education that I believe that Women's Council offers its members is a little bit different in the offering from what you get at your local board. The peer collaboration, collaborating with peers across the country and even in your state. And you'd wonder, why would real estate agents want to talk to other real estate agents? There's so much power in that. You can learn so much from that. But the leadership development piece, I think, was key. And for me, being able to leverage that back in my business, in my listing and buyer presentations, my clients knew that I was a leader in the industry. And now my SOI, my sphere of influence, and my client database reflects what I am in the industry. In my data, in my SOI, I'm not just a great realtor, I'm a leader in the industry. And it's funny, when they refer me to their friends and family, they don't say, oh, she's really good at selling your house, or she can really get you into a great house. They say she's a leader in the industry. So I'm here today on this panel because of the impact that Women's Council Realtors has had in my business career and all the successes that I've gone on to have. When you network at the level I was networking at 10, 15 years ago, my referral business was huge. First of all, everybody knows somebody moving to Atlanta, right? To go to hell or heaven, you gotta come through Atlanta. Everybody knew somebody, and it was important to me to make sure that my name was, sometimes they'd call me and I'd have to refer that to somebody because they're asking for somebody in Savannah, but they thought of me first. Call Faith, she'll know who to refer to. And when you set yourself in that, get yourself in that, but I had to participate. I had to get involved, and Women's Council was the platform that got me there. So how did that impact my business? Like Momer said, it's hard to quantify in dollars and cents, but I'm sitting here today knowing that without Women's Council, I probably would not have been here and would not have had many of the successes that I've had.
I think we could all walk into a room, see the friends that we've met through WCR and quantify that.
And that way,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Building relationships.
I told my daughter that if she ever got stuck anywhere in the country, just call me because I know a woman's councilman in just about every state that can come to her rescue. That is priceless.
That's
It is.
beautiful. Wow. What about you? What about you, Latanya?
The membership for me has translated into tangible results. I started my brokerage last year, and I would have to say it's referrals and listings, speaking opportunities, sitting on a panel, and planning this. Gives you, I know, Madam President. Just higher visibility. Many members, report a 20 to 30% increase in business as a result of Women's Council connections, leadership visibility, and access to high-level realtors across the market. So, last week I got a call from a Women's Council. I call them my Women's Council sisters, from Texas. And she had someone that is here and she needed help. So she looked on my profile and she saw that I was the president, and she also saw I had my PMN. And she referred her client, to me to help her sell 2 houses that she have here in Georgia. So I mean, the Women's Council network is powerful.
What about you, Adam? And how does this being a part of WCR impact your business?
Well, and I'm like, it's not so much about tangible, but coming from the career that I came from, I was used to a certain environment. When I came here, I had to, like I told other leaders, you may have come from a corporate world, whatever you came from prior to being in real estate, you were leader of an organization, but you have to learn how to lead in Women's Council. And that's something that I had to do. I had to learn how to turn the switch off, because if you know the rank structure in the Army, when I got to that level, it was like, so I had to turn that switch off. But it also has put me in places that I didn't think I would be in. I've had speaking engagements. Being a veteran, that is something I'm very proud of. So there's been various organizations just based on, not just me being a veteran, but when they saw I was a women's councilman, like, wait a minute. So that just added another layer onto that. So it helps your business, but it also exposes you to other areas. And that for me spoke volumes, because I was used to that cocoon, if you will, that other life I had. And then coming into real estate, it was like, okay. And I saw those similarities in the correlation between the military and real estate. When I joined Women's Council, it was like, that's where I first met Faith Reed, was at my very first meeting event that I went to. And it was like, I couldn't believe this. I'm surrounded by women from all levels of expertise in real estate. And that just, I felt like I was just wrapped in a blanket, because when you're a new realtor, I honestly believe that you need to be a part of Women's Council, because that is where your foundation can be built. You're surrounded by a group of men and women, because there's 10% of the membership that are men. So men, if you want to join Women's Council, you can do that.
We need them.
But it just allowed me to release and be safe among other women realtors, and to be able to learn how to build my business from the ground up, because you had some brand new ones and you had some like Faith that been in the industry for decades. So you can take pieces of that and to help you. And that's what has helped me, just being in the right place at the right time, being open-minded, being receptive, because sometimes we can be open-minded but not be receptive. So that for me has been a godsend. And the relationships That's huge in women's council. I have, most of my friends now are in real estate, in women's council. There are women I would have never met, would have never known about had I not joined women's council. So if I'm like, hey, if I need somebody in a certain state, all I have to do is pick up the phone and call. And you would not believe how, they don't even have to know you. All you have to do is say, I'm in women's council in Georgia. I need this, and this. And it's like an immediate response. But the one thing that I can say about women's council, we don't care about your brokerage. You would never hear that come up in a conversation. You would never hear anyone talk about, well, how much, or did you, or how many, you don't hear that.
Right.
Because what they want to know is the person. So you're in a safe space of, okay, I can just be me. I don't have to compete with anybody, because we do that every day. We compete against each other every day. But in women's council, you don't do that. You'll know a person's first and last name before you know who they work for.
That's right.
Or even if they have their own brokerage. And that to me is one of the things that sets us apart, because we are individual based and not brokerage based.
That was beautiful.
Very good.
That was absolutely. Beautiful. I enjoyed that. And I'm a newer member, like 2 years in, and the name alone is just prestigious. You know, you say, you attach the Women's Council
Just anything.
to anything, people's eyes literally light up. I went from a realtor saying, yes, I'm a realtor, and they're like, yeah, okay, like 100 other realtors. But when I say, yes, I'm a realtor, but I'm also on the board for the Women's Council, it's, oh, okay, so you're real, like really in the industry, like you're not just a realtor that just got a license yesterday, you know? So it does hold a lot of weight and the credibility of it, and it's been in the industry for so long. It holds a lot of weight compared to other organizations who have not been in the industry as long. It's a quality name to put that, to attach it to your name. So just wanted to add my little 2 cents. Now, some of these questions we already asked. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. So what would you say to a skeptic who thinks that WCR is just about luncheons and social events? Because we like to eat
We do.
and we like to socialize.
Yes, we do.
So let's see, who do I want to give this question to? Okay. Okay.
Because those luncheons are often master classes in leadership, marketing, legal updates, and business growth, disguised as networking. They're where deals are made, alliances are formed, and future leaders rise. Women's Council is a powerful mix of education, influence, and community. So don't let the table setting and the food fool you.
That's it.
What about you, Mama?
Yeah, so you can kind of quantify that. I was looking at the WCR website nationally, and so the median income for a member of NAR is $43,000. The average the median income for WCR members is $106,000. That's almost 3 times the amount of just the average NAR realtor. Average member sales volume, 11.3 million. And then average experience at NAR is 8 years, whereas with WCR it's 17 years. One thing that I notice though is whenever somebody comes into the industry, I always tell them to participate. Join the board of realtors, try to find where you fit in, what role you fit into. But I think it's a bit daunting for a lot of people. Again, when you see people on that podium, so elegantly speaking and so forth, it's like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to that point. But, say, like, not to disparage or anything, but the Atlanta Association of Realtors, I think they have 8,000 to 10,000 members. So it's like you're a small fish in a big pond there. Whereas here with WCR, you get that opportunity to essentially the fast track to leadership and yeah, I think that the barrier of access is much lower here, so it gives people opportunities to taste that leadership so that they can move on to whether it's at their local association, at the state level, or at the national level.
Yes, that's correct.
I think I can piggyback on that because that was a good point. In fact, I'll say this, looking back, I think in 2012, if any of you were in the business how many of you were in the business in 2012? You remember? Oh, you were. You remember what was happening? You remember what was happening in 2010, 11, and 12?
Yeah.
It was a great downturn in the industry. And I was coming from the new home space. I sold new homes my entire career, and all of my builders closed up shop. Everything was, my new seller was a bank. Foreclosures, short sales, that's what ruled the day. But when I looked back at my referrals, I was getting referrals from Women's Council. And I believe that year, in 2012, I remember a third of my income came from referrals. And that's when you really, I was able to quantify it then, how powerful that was. A third of my income was coming from referrals, from Women's Council referrals. But I'll say this, that Women's Council to me, and I've worked in so many levels of the industry, local, state, national, with Women's Council as well as with Realtor organization. But Women's Council is the only organization that is designed especially and specifically for the individual. Their business model is centered around an upside down triangle. See the upside down triangle? At the top is where the greatest weight is. And that's where the local Women's Council network is, in that portion of the triangle. It's where it all comes together. The local Women's Council network is where it starts. I like to call it, is where the sausage gets made, because that's where you get to feel your way out in leadership. That's where you get to try, these different positions. You get to watch yourself grow and emerge, and the dynamic programs that a local network puts on, and they meet often, is designed around like a room like this, with a few people in the room getting really rich material, being able to discuss it, being able to, to eat on that and empower themselves with that. The member promise that you get when you join Women's Council says that when you join and when you get involved, you'll experience growth both personally and professionally. And that's what happens right here in the local network. There is no other organization, I believe, that has that type of focus on the individual member. You can join your local board. Of course, you have to be a realtor. You join your local board, but your local board is not focused, laser focused on the individual member. They're focused on all the members. There's nothing that's designed specifically to allow you to grow and develop. So for me, I would say to a skeptic, show me another organization that has been around for 80+ years that empowers women in every facet of their leadership growth and development. And if you look around the country, all of the real estate legends, and real estate rock stars came through Women's Council. As a matter of fact, to prove that point, I can tell you this, that the National Association of Realtors sees Women's Council Realtors as the only credible leadership building source in the industry. And going back for the past 10, 15 years, every single NAR president is a member, male or female, of Women's Council of Realtors.
Beautiful, beautiful. LaTanya, what would you say to the skeptics who think that we're just, oh, you already answered that question. Wait a minute, because I just remembered your answer. Like, hold up, okay. I make sure to cut that part out. Okay, Madam President.
I may reverse it a little bit. I would I would tell them my story, but then I would put it back in their lap. What is it that you are looking for? What would be your value proposition for you? What is your why? And then if they can answer that, then I will go back and say, Women's Council addresses all of what you're asking for. And then I'll go into specifics of whatever that is they're telling me. So I think when it comes to new membership, I'll go back to how I came in. That I was at a CE class, didn't know a thing. Even though I had looked up Women's Council, I still didn't know anything about Women's Council. But this lady that was there, she was the membership director for the CAC. And I told her I was actually thinking about joining this organization. She said, no, you coming over to the CAC. She said, I want you to come to the event. I said, why? She said, just come and see. So I went, and that's where it went off for me. You have to be present. You need to go to an event. But sometimes we can tell you what we feel, what we need you to feel. So what you feel when you enter that room is going to determine what you're going to do. It's like when I went, it was like, wow, the first event I went to, was in there. And it was the whole presence, the whole, being in that room with all this expertise. It depends on what you are looking for. And if they can articulate that to you, then you can proceed on and say, okay, I want you to come to an event at this day. And then go from there. Because sometimes we can say everything we need to say because we know how important it is to us. But we need, just like somebody told me, come and see, I'll tell them, come and see. And it goes from there.
It's true. It's definitely a ripple effect, and you will get tapped. So into leadership. And and sometimes when I talk to agents, I always tell them this is not pressure. If you're not ready to take your career from A to the top, well, A is the top, I guess, 0 to 100. If you're not ready to do that, then maybe you don't want to be a part of the Women's Council. Because this is an organization for growth. Like I always used to tell my son when he was younger, in this house, this is a progressive house. You have got to progress. If not, you cannot live here. Like this is a progress. So, and I feel the same way about the Women's Council. And some people they're not there. They just, they may be going through something personally or whatever, and this is just not the right time. And that's fine. It's no pressure. But when you're ready to hit the ground and running and be progressive, this is definitely the organization that you can, because the thing is, you're going to walk in and it's going to be open arms every time. Mm-hmm. The energy in the room and people just taking you under their wing, like, hey, what do you want to do? Hey, this, hey, that, it's fulfilling. And the fact, making the point that what you were saying, we don't care what brokerage you're with. We rarely know what brokerage you're with. Like I work with plenty of agents and I don't even know I know they're realtors, but that's about it. We don't talk about that. We just talk about growth and development. So, okay, we're 1 minute behind schedule. That's okay. Thank you. But I just want to say thank you for all of the lovely panelists that came to contribute to this conversation. Do we have time for like 1 or 2 questions? Okay, if anyone has 1 or 2 questions, we can try and answer them. Yes. And questions? Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna do 1 more question. If someone leaves today and doesn't join WCR, what opportunities are they walking away from?
I can answer that. It's a very short answer. And I know all of us have a great idea, but I would say that if they walked away today and didn't join, I would have to say they passed on an easily attainable opportunity to transform their lives.
She answered.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Simon? You want to chime in?
They are missing the opportunity to be more than just successful. They're missing the opportunity to be significant. Women's councils where realtors rise, lead, and leave a legacy. If you walk away today, you may still grow your business, but you'll miss the chance to transform it, elevate others, and become unforgettable. She said it.
Thank you.
Like you said.
All right. Who said it? Any last closing words?
Yeah,
from the
well
panel?
said, ladies. I think, you're leaving money on the table. Obviously, the numbers show that, the referral opportunities. But I think we have plenty of, realtors in this country. I think it's 1.5 million realtors. I think we have 1.6 million. But I think that we need more leaders in this industry as well. I mean, again, locally, around the state, around the country. I think communities, one thing I noticed that's constant in my travels across the state is that communities are built and prosper due to the efforts of the realtors in that community. So become a leader, and this is essentially the fast track to becoming a leader.
It is.
And just a reminder that Women's Council of Realtors is the 12th largest women's organization in the United States. And we are in demand around the world. Our leadership just came back from Dubai. They've been to Spain, they've been to South America, Canada. They're asking for us to come. So we're in demand.
That.
Yes.
Any last words, Madam President?
I want to talk about that tap you mentioned.
Oh, yes. A whole lot of taps going on. Yes.
The tap, we say it as a joke, but what it really means is, as leaders, our boards, our presidents, they're looking across their networks and they're actually watching you. They're looking for that potential. They see potential in you that you didn't think you had in you. So that's where the tap comes from. They have been watching you and saying, this person will be great in this position. So they give you that time to kind of, I don't want to say ferment, but to just, but you regenerate, just kind of put the work in and just watch you from afar. That happened to me and I did not know they were watching. That's the thing.
That's right.
You never know who's watching you. But they'll come and say, have you ever thought about being a membership director or an event director? You look like, no. Never gonna talk. And if you say, well, no, I might be, because it's more than sometimes people get intimidated by being on a board. So there's committees. If you are good at social media, if you're good at community service type stuff, that's a committee. You're still involved, but you're not necessarily on board if that's not your comfort level. So there's many things that you can do within the network that will service you and the network.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay, so now for those few questions, does anyone have any immediate questions that they want to ask? Something that was pending in their brain the whole time that they couldn't say anything?
I don't have a question, but I just want to comment on, I got the tap and I'm new. And if you're thinking about it, I had no idea which direction I was going in. I was at a meeting or, group networking, and someone said, hey, I want you to meet so-and-so. And from there, a year ago, I ended up being the first vice president, and I am a work in progress. But my heart was full of the ideas and the things in the journey that I knew I wanted to be able to take my business and myself professionally and personally. And being on the Women's Council, it's allowed me to do just that. And I hope to continue on the board or in leadership or wherever I might be needed. But it is a very well organized organization and a group of lovely, hardworking people who want to see you advance in whichever direction you want to grow in, and become a better you. And I'm becoming a better me. I popped out of my picture. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any comments, questions, concerns, worry?
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela. And I'm also new on the board, and it's just a comment, Fish, because when you're talking initially about, okay, I'm a realtor, there's thousands of realtors out there. So in my case, in the people that are here that are invited, I personally want to integrate and bring my community, the Hispanic community, to join and see, because over there with another Hispanic loan officer or another Hispanic realtors, and we're used to seeing the same faces. And so here is so refreshing, it's different, it's another whole concept of organization, and I want them to be a part of it, and I want you guys to know what we are about and we can bring to the table. So I encourage each one of you to let the people that you know to come over and see what we are all about. I know, Martha, you came for the first time, and I know that, hopefully you got some value out of this, and this is the point, it's just collaborating with each other and seeing, hey, the things that we're used to seeing before, we have a fresh perspective over here, and we have value. So, like I said, I encourage you guys to come and bring people with you to our next meetings, and I promise you, it'll be worth it.
Yes, thank you for that, Gabby. Okay, so.
I'll stick around if anybody wants to ask me any questions
Okay.
without having to raise their hands. I'll be
Okay,
willing to do that.
perfect. Awesome. So the panel will stick around for a while. Of course, I'm the membership director. If you guys have any direct questions for me, I will be over here somewhere or maybe running around like I normally do. But definitely find me, talk to any one of us. We'll definitely help you navigate the process of becoming a member, or if you have any questions, direct questions that we can answer, we're happy to help you guys, okay? All right. Okay, so I guess meeting adjourned. No. Oh, no, it's not adjourned. I'm just done with my part.
Wow. What an incredible discussion. Wasn't that some powerful information? Can you already see how this kind of insight can impact both your personal life and your business life?
Yeah.
Doesn't it just make you proud or curious to just be a part of Women's Council? Just join right now. Right? You just want to join right now. Tish, where your laptop? You wanna go ahead and set up so they can get signed up like right now?
Someone's ready. Someone's ready.
So special thank you to Tish for doing such a fantastic job moderating the conversation. Isn't she just amazing? So now let's just keep the energy going with few quick announcements. Tish, come on up and share what's coming up next
Oh, okay, well.
for events.
I don't know.
Yeah. And you're doing amazing. So Tish is, she's stepping in for Kelly, who couldn't be with us today. But she's gonna share some exciting upcoming events. And then we're gonna go ahead and get you guys out. We are on schedule.
So one of the sheets, I don't know where the next one is, the other one. Gabby, do you know where the sheet for all of the events that was on the table? Okay, so does someone steal our event sheet from the table? It's okay. Okay, so well, this is the next event that we have going on. This was at the table as well. This is Chris Shoemake. He's gonna be the speaker. Which location is this going to be? You know?
That one is to be determined.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think we had it at Gwinnett, but we're talking about that offline.
okay. So we.
I think it's a CE event.
Yes, this is gonna be a CE event, discover market updates, creative financing options, and insider tips to navigate the loan process from start to finish Learn how to overcome common challenges and close deals with confidence. Don't miss a chance to level up your expertise. So this is coming up, it's actually July the 25th. You guys will get some emails and text messages from us letting you know the different events that's coming up. We try to stay on top of that. There we go. Are you a little thief? No. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm Kelly right now. Okay, so this is the events and schedule. So we have Embracing Opportunities, which is today. And then we also have the NAR Mid-Year Conference in DC. So if you guys are gonna come to DC and party with us, okay, and party and learn, right? And then I just told you about, this particular event that is July 17th. And then we have August 21st coming up, the State of Economy Expert Panel. And so you will meet your local area, economy experts, which will be at I don't know where that's gonna be yet. But like I said, you will receive an email of the details of each one of these events that will come up. And, okay, sorry, that was a little messy, but. Oh, sorry.
Come join us. If you had left your emails, at the back table, we'll make sure that, you are included on our newsletters and the, events updates that do go out. So as we close out, as we wrap up our time together, I just want to say, what an amazing event. You guys get a lot? Was it amazing? Did you enjoy it? Another one in the books, and every single one of you was meant to be here today. A big thank you to our panelists, our members, and our strategic partners. Your support means everything, and we truly appreciate you. I would also like to take this moment to invite Sandra, come on. Gabby, Tish, membership committee, Cody, and our newest member, Shanisa. I cannot thank you enough for all that you do. It has been an incredible year, and I'm so honored to be a part of this powerhouse team, Gwinnett Gladiators, because teamwork really does make the dream work. Gwinnett Gladiators, y'all. Now go out and tell everyone you know about Women's Council, and you guys have a wonderful day.